If you've been on social media lately, you've probably seen the headlines. Something about a job apocalypse hitting Gen Z. But what's actually going on behind all those viral posts? Today, we're diving into the Built to Pivot report to separate the hype from the hard data and really understand the job crisis that's facing a whole new generation.
So, okay, let's just get right to it. Is this whole Gen Z job apocalypse a real structural crisis, or is it just, an overblown media story? Well, as we're about to see, the answer isn't that simple. It's kind of both.
All right, let's start with just one number that really tells you a lot. An analysis of over 100 million job postings found that global entry-level listings have absolutely plummeted by 29% just since the start of 2024. I mean, that is a staggering drop, and it really gets to the heart of the problem.
Now, with a number like that, you can see why the whole apocalypse story takes hold, right? But is that the whole story? Let's break down where the hype might be getting a little ahead of the reality and where the crisis is all too real.
And this is where it gets nuanced. See, on the one hand, you've got the hype. The media loves a dramatic story. And yeah, some economists even project a net gain of millions of jobs by 2030. But on the other hand, you have the reality. Something fundamental is breaking down. That traditional path to your first job, it's disappearing. And AI is only speeding that process up.
So let's be super clear here. This isn't just some temporary downturn or a blip on the radar. What we're in right now is a deep structural transformation of the entire labor market. And as the data is about to show, the impact is not being felt equally by everyone.
Just take the United States, for example. The difference is pretty stark. While the overall unemployment rate is a relatively low 4.3%, the rate for young workers is more than double that, sitting at 10.8%. They are feeling this economic pain way more acutely.
And if we look over at Europe, the story gets even more varied. You've got Germany with an incredibly low youth unemployment rate of 5.4%, and we'll come back to why that is in a minute. But then you have countries like Spain struggling with rates over 23%. It's a really clear sign that national policies and education systems matter a lot.
And to really wrap your head around the global scale of this, just look at Nigeria. A staggering 80 million young people there are unemployed. That's more than half the country's youth. It's a number so huge it's hard to even comprehend. And it just goes to show how this crisis really does span continents.
These aren't just economic statistics, they come with a profound human cost. 40% of Gen Z report feeling constantly stressed or anxious. Financial insecurity has shot up, and over half are living paycheck to paycheck. This is the real psychological reality of trying to navigate a system that feels broken.
So, the big question is, why is this happening? Well, the most crucial point to understand is that the career playbook our parents and grandparents used is just obsolete now. The fundamental rules of the game have completely changed.
The difference between the old world and the new one is just, wow. The traditional model of a linear career ladder, lifetime employment, that's been replaced by these fragmented paths where the average job tenure for a young worker is just over a year. That old promise, that a degree sets you up for life, is simply gone.
At the very heart of this failure is a concept the report calls the disappearing first rung. You see, these entry-level jobs were never just jobs. They were training grounds. They were where you learned by doing. And as companies cut costs and lean on automation, they're literally removing the very first step on the career ladder, leaving new graduates with no clear way to even get started.
And hey, this isn't just speculation. LinkedIn's own economic opportunity officer puts it bluntly. AI is breaking those bottom rungs. The very roles that were designed to teach junior professionals. Think coders, paralegals, first-year lawyers. Those are the exact ones being automated away first.
This all leads to what the report calls the credential paradox. Gen Z was told over and over to get a degree, but now over half of graduates start their careers in jobs that don't even require one. And get this, shockingly, the unemployment rate for recent college grads now matches that of high school diploma holders. The promised return on that massive student debt has just not shown up for so many.
But okay, this isn't all doom and gloom. We're not just here to talk about the problem, we're going to look at solutions now. Because around the world, there are systems and models that are successfully navigating this crisis, and they show us a potential path forward.
Let's go back to that German model. It's so effective because it's what they call a dual system. Young people aren't just sitting in a classroom. They spend most of their time actually learning on the job, getting paid while they do it, and then, this is the best part, getting hired by the very companies that train them. It seamlessly connects education directly to employment. So when you look at all the systems that are actually working, like Germany's, you start to see they share a few key ingredients.
Employers are deeply involved in designing the training, young people are getting paid to learn real skills on the job, and most importantly, there's a clear, direct pathway to a real job at the end. It's a coordinated effort, which is a world away from just telling individuals to sink or swim on their own.
And all of this brings us to the core idea of the report, a brand new framework for how to navigate your career in this uncertain world. It's called Built to Pivot.
The first pillar is something called skill stacking. So instead of being a generalist or a super narrow specialist, the idea is to combine complementary skills. Think about it, a coder who also understands marketing specifically for the healthcare industry. That unique combination is so much harder for AI to replicate, and it creates a ton of value.
Second, and this is huge, is to stop seeing AI as a threat and start using it as a personal multiplier. This means developing real proficiency, going way beyond just using ChatGPT for emails. It's about augmenting your own abilities to become exponentially more effective. And the data shows this pays off, with a potential salary bump of up to 28%.
And the final pillar is all about embracing a reality that Gen Z is already living. I mean, with 2/3 of them having side hustles, that old choice between being an employee or an entrepreneur is obsolete. The modern career is a fluid continuum between the two. Building skills in both worlds, being entrepreneurial inside a company and business savvy on your own, that is the new job security.
And this brings us to what might be the most powerful conclusion in the entire report. The problem isn't Gen Z, it's not about a lazy or entitled generation. The crisis is the result of a massive structural mismatch between an outdated system and a brand new economic reality. So we end with this question. Gen Z is already pivoting, they're stacking skills, they're hustling to adapt to this new world. The real challenge now is for our institutions, our companies, our universities, and our governments to become just as agile and forward-thinking. How do we build systems that don't fail them, but instead actually empower them?